3. What's going on, everybody? Here, What's going on, everybody? This your boy King Gabe here, and also got Brownie with me again. So you know what that means. We're gonna dive into yet another of the Yumeko Rough Draft, the Yumeko Rough Draft comic series of what was going to be, but then actually did, but got changed up a little bit when it got published. But we're reading what it started out as, so or at least going through what it started out as. So today in this video, I'm gonna go through two of them, issue 3 and 4. This is because now I don't know if I'm gonna read more than one of them in the other videos just yet. A lot of it depends on where the next few stories kind of lead there, and how they're written from issue to issue. I know 1 and 2 was pretty much a two-parter, yeah, and it still continues into this one, into issue number 3, and kind of 4 possibly, but they have different titles. Whereas the first 2 issues, they had the same title, just part 1 and part 2, so it was obvious that was a continuation there. So this one is the next number 3 is a continuation. It just got a different title though, because something else is happening in it, but it is picking up from where the two-parter was. So, and then also for number 4, remember Brownie mentioned in somewhere in the second issue that he was going to explain to the kids a little bit about Yumeko, which was something that is kind of explained early on in the novel Yumeko series. We'll get to that soon. But as for now, yeah, he'll be explaining it in issue number 4. So for right now, we're going to do issue number 3, and we'll get to 4. Excuse me, when we as soon as we get through 3. So it's a double treat for this video. Like I say, not sure if the other videos are going to be more than one yet, but like I say, you will find out when we get to them. But this one will be, yeah. So before we go into it, make sure y'all definitely like, share, subscribe. Definitely get some of our available books that are published. And also, hit us up on that Patreon, just like your boy, AJ the Supreme, Big Sis Casey in the Iceman universe. And also hang out with us on Facebook and Discord, as well as also, let's tell each other some stuff on that Macari app. Now let's dive right on in. Yeah, so. Alright, so issue number 3 is actually called, the rough draft is actually called The Hat Crisis. Quite a crisis with the hat. It's a funny way that this that there's something that happens in here that sort of came from something in real life. It's kind of funny how it happened, but I'll explain when we get to it. So first you got Brownie's grandparents that enter. They come in there. Ryan and Ruby are their names. Both of them start with an R. Yeah, you probably could guess Ryan is actually the grandpa. Ruby is Brownie's grandmother. Ryan, as being the name of Brownie's grandpa, has actually this was from a not sure how back in high school. At some point back in high school, back during the era of the floppy drive disc. Any of y'all remember the floppy drive disc before we had flash drives? We had the floppy disk, which, yeah, even if I had that disc, I probably would not be able to bring this up, because obviously, my laptops and I don't think any computers nowadays have where you can put in a floppy disk. That's kind of obsolete. It's been like way back early 2000. So with on that floppy disk though, there was sort of another Brownie series that was sort of I set up like a fantasy adventure type of thing, an anime sort of and sort of sort of similar to shows like Inuyasha or stuff like that. And in there, Brownie had his it was him and his grandpa, and he called him Grandpa Ryan. He was also a sensei to him, so yeah, that's where his Grandpa Ryan comes from. Yeah, that's the first time I imagine him. But apparently, now Ryan could still be in the novel series, as well as he could have possibly came up when I actually did get this published and was getting idea and was making some changes and stuff like that. So he possibly could come up in the novel series. You never know. It all depends, because the novel series kind of is taking a different turn from the comics. Sort of like a lot of things, especially like with DC and Marvel. You know how you see one thing in the comics and then they adapt it, and it be something completely different. They come up with new stuff, but you never know. Like I said, you never know. But I do know the whole sensei idea has definitely changed in the novel series. So I'll let you know what that changed to when we get to it. All right, so his grandparents come in. They meet the kids and they introduce to the kids and everything. Hiko and his friends. Well, actually, Hiko's friend, because Hiko is still upstairs. He's still upstairs. I think well, they're getting breakfast together. Melina, of course, is trying to help with breakfast, and she accidentally flips some of the sunny side eggs up, and they land on Zeta. Sort of humorous moment there. Well, okay, not so humorous in Zeta's case, because yeah, hot eggs. It's almost kind of making me think of this really hilarious moment in Hannah Montana, where Jackson had got this little boy Rico had splashed hot sauce on Jackson from his buffalo wings or just wings. He's like, hot sauce in my eye, hot sauce in my eye, and his friend thought he was throwing water on him, but it was soda in my eyes. so Melina tries to. She tries to fix it. Like, I'm sorry, I can fix it later. She sets the skillet down and rests the stick. She tries to spray Zayden, to get tries to spray him, but accidentally sprays the floor. And Zayden slips and crashes into the cabinets there. Yeah, kind of a little. Also, another thing that came to my mind when I wrote that scene of Melina kind of being a little clumsy there, was some of y'all probably might be thinking of Usagi from Sailor Moon, which is the inspiration for Bubblina, for Christina's version of Bubblina. However, the character I was thinking of was, I think her name was Tamara in the English dub. I don't know what her Japanese was, but Tamara from the Shaman King series, when she was trying to, she was trying to do an interrogation or something, or I think she had got Morty and this Rio guy mistaken for the enemies, tall one and little one, and then Anna showed up and was like, no, that's not them. Those are friends of Yo. I messed everything up. How? So that happens there. So with Hiko upstairs, uh, he then thinks that maybe he should just wake Naomi up normally, and then get to know each other, and then and then then eventually they kind of relationship will bloom, and yeah, then he would earn that kiss. Okay, okay, Hiko, got your head on straight there. That's good. I say, yeah. Get to know the girl first. Get to know it. Build up a healthy relation. Uh, uh, then now there was actually a lot more dialogue that was going to go into that, but my mom, when she was proofreading it, kind of took a lot of it, suggested of taking a lot of it out, and she had a really good explanation behind it. That's kind of one of the reasons I kind of think of her and Dad like advisors there. Sort of, I always say this is King Gabe, and you know how kings and queens, they have advisors there. So I kind of think of my parents sort of like advisors there, which they really fit that role because maybe ruling this Miracle Productions empire, but even the ruler sometimes needs a little. And I'm trying to run the kingdom. What do I do? You got. Sometimes we need a little help. Sometime, like, so, sort of like what you would call it, the Sultan in Aladdin. He had Jafar as his advisor, which turned on him though. So, but they're not. So at least they're not like Jafar. so with that, Naomi actually so it turns out Naomi's already awake, as we saw it, as I mentioned in the end of the second rough draft. And he notices her softly crying with her hands over her face. He tries to not to see if she's okay and everything, try to comfort her. And then she instantly jumps away terrified, and kind of keeps backing away as Hiko's trying to approach her. Now, just to explain, if y'all didn't see the last video, as I stated, Naomi is autistic. This is actually something that I've actually found out, especially back then, and still some more probably, learning. But back then when I was writing this, I had found out about the whole thing of when an autistic person is trying to process something, and that they're not familiar with, that sometimes they can be pretty freaked out there. So this is actually accurate. Maybe not exactly sure how accurate this would be, but it's pretty close to what I had found out. So with that, he said, then Melina tries to come in. Melina comes in probably to tell them that it's time for breakfast. And she sees that Naomi's awake. Naomi just takes off, just takes off, running out of the room. Melina's like, wait, I didn't mean to scare you. I was just, and then this is where, remember I mentioned the comparison to Tamara from Shaman King, which said, I messed everything up. Oh. Melina actually says that, I'm messing everything up, because first it was breakfast, and now suddenly I just walk in here and suddenly Naomi takes off running. So, of course, because she doesn't understand what's going on, and neither does Hiko. I mean, like I say, this is pretty new to them there. And that's one thing about autism in general. It was, like I say, it was known, but the thing was, like right now, it's more people know about it more so than they did years ago. Because yeah, like say back in the '90s or stuff like that, not a lot. A few people knew about autism, but not a whole lot of people, and even ones that did know about it, some of them really didn't understand, like how that worked or anything, as compared to other things like ADHD or stuff like that. And let's be honest, some things about ADHD some people don't understand, and it's like because that's the category I fit into ADHD, but there's something that some people don't even understand about that. So a lot of people didn't quite understand that back then. But then there were probably a few people that did, but not very many back then, like they do now. I know my mom, she was a school teacher. She's retired from school teaching. When she was teaching, she actually has encountered kids like this there that were ADHD like me and also autistic, as well as other conditions and stuff like that. So she saw it. So she somewhat had I guess you could say a in person kind of, if that's such a thing. She had a little knowledge from what she was seeing in the students that she interacted with there. So from what she saw, and having to kind of okay, I need to maybe do this or do that or do this when I teach or stuff. She saw it, so she got a little bit of so she did get some understanding from that there. Now, how much I'm not completely sure, but just from having to work with these students, yeah, and actually still be able to do her teaching and as well, but still treat the students right. Yeah, that was quite a bit that she picked up on there. So yes, they oh, go on to the next page. Yeah. Ramon, of course, Ramon is kind of upset with Penubian. He's like, say upset with Penubian. He's like, go back out there and get them. Turns out they're watching what's going on, kind of like the way Rita and Lord Zed when they be watching the Power Rangers. Let's see what's going on. Oh, what's this, Kimberly? Having trouble with your friends? I'll make sure that all of you have trouble with each other. Well, what would breaking up their friendship do? Don't you understand anything, you fool, Goldar? It break up their friendship. They'll be so focused on fighting with each other, they won't be able to stop my next plan. So, yeah, kind of like that going on. So of course, Naomi runs completely out of the house, and he goes after her. He tells Melina to let the others know what's going on in case something happens out there, and they can back them up if they need to. So then so Naomi finally stops in this forest, not right outside of Barnhart City. That's the name of the city, by the way, that they're in. Brownie's home city. And she noticed the peacefulness of the area, and this kind of calms her down. Yeah, sort of. See, that's kind of another thing with autism. When they what they call meltdowns. Yeah, sometimes. That's one thing I learned from Sound of the Forest on TikTok. A lot of time, not being able to, having trouble with processing something like their surroundings and stuff, or just things that they're not familiar with in general, can cause what they call an autistic meltdown. Sometimes if you were to see a person like this, but you didn't understand what was going on, you probably would think like, oh my god, what's wrong with that person? They're having a tantrum or something, or a seizure. You might think that, but that's what it would be. It would be because what they're processing is almost like a computer. When you try, as Richie say in Static Shock, it's like when he was trying to get Brainiac to crash, just like his computer when he tries to do too many things at once. That's kind of how the processing can sometimes be for an autistic person when they're having trouble processing. But something familiar, or just something kind of on the peaceful side in general, like this forest, can kind of help it. Yeah, kind of relax, something like that, fidget toys, stuff, and anything like that. But in this case, it's the forest, because it looks a lot like the forest that she's probably seen back in the real world. And then Hiko starts he sees Naomi, catches up to her, and he notices her starting to giggle and dance there, which makes him and he starts fantasizing himself dancing with her, sort of like Prince Charming and Cinderella. Yeah. So and yeah, that was but the daydream is interrupted, of course, when this giant wool hat monster comes out. That's the title, Hat Crisis. So it's a giant wool hat that comes out of the ground. Hiko rushes and gets Naomi out of there before the monster strikes. Without thinking, he just quickly picks Naomi up in his arms. I'm not sure exactly how this is going. It's possible that he could do this in the novel series. Have to see there, but I'll explain why I said that when I get to the novel series. But anyway, but yeah, with Naomi in his arms, he's and promises that he'll protect her. Or like the almost like Aladdin, when he took death. Do you trust me? Do you trust me? Whoa! Naomi kind of looks confused for a moment, but then realizes, because she's also, she doesn't like know Hiko, know him, but but just like how I mentioned, Hiko knows of Naomi from his church and everything. He's seen her before. Naomi's probably, it's probably the same with Naomi. So they're not complete strangers to one another at this point. This isn't their first time seeing each other, but yeah, they're actually interacting now. So she holds on to him there, and they keep running until he's frozen in a magic field by Panubian, and Panubian shows up. He's like, Koji Makaro, I see you got a girlfriend. What sweet romance. Too bad it's about to end in a tragedy like Romeo and Juliet. And the hat monster shows up. He's about he's about to eat Hiko. The hat monster's about to eat Hiko and Naomi until Brownie shows up in his fire truck, blasting the hat with the fire truck's water cannons. Panubian is like, oh, you're not gonna ruin my plans this time, you little puppy. And then he encases the fire truck in a magic field so it won't move. Now, once I dry my hat, it'll eat the three of you and your friends. And Hiko looks around and he thinks about when he made about the Frozen Fury ice cream attack from the store and gets an idea. And he says, woolly constriction. This, saying this causes the hat to come apart, and all the woolly threads that the hat's made out of starts wrapping around Panubian where he can't get loose. That's what I call using your enemy's power against them. The magic fields vanish. Brownie's like, looks like you're gonna be tied up and washed out. And just like before, he blasts Panubian with the water cannons this time into the sky. And like Team Rocket and Pokemon, he's blasting off again! Ding! Curse you, Brownie B. Brown! Well, that he's taken care of. Like, let's head back. Let's head back to Brownie's house for breakfast. But Naomi wants to stay there because, of course, she's real comfortable with the forest at the moment. So Hiko kind of hangs around to make sure she's safe. And they just start playing. They just started playing together. It was like, tag, you're it. They just started playing together with each other. And that ends that story. So now we're going to go into rough draft number 4. One thing I definitely want to tell you guys about that woolly hat monster. That was actually an idea. That's about the silly kind of wacky idea that came from. I was at school one day back in high school. I was at school one day, and I think we had took like a test or something, and we had just so I finished my test, and we were waiting for the other students to finish. So while we were waiting, I had not in this body, but the other body I showed in the last video. Make sure y'all check it out. But the body that Brownie had, I showed in the last video. He was in that body, which of course makes sense because that's how I was able to sneak him to school, since he was smaller. Since that was a smaller body, so I took Brownie out, and I had this woodlawn knit hat. It was a woodlawn hat, and I took it, and I had Brownie with a pencil, holding a pencil like it was a sword. The pencil I was using, and he started like, "I'm gonna get you hat monster!" So that's kind of where that come from, and it was also used in the story I mentioned that was on my floppy disk. But only difference was Brownie saved Emily from that hat monster in that universe. So now let's go to issue number 4, the beginning of Yumeko. So this is actually where they start to explain about Yumeko. Before it starts, Ramon is upset with Penelope, and he's like, you failed me again, blah 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 blah, and so he's like, I'm gonna prepare a new plan when the time is right. Yeah, any of y'all ever heard? It's kind of a joke I've heard some people make about Thanos from the MCU. Actually, and my wife has made this joke too. Like, well, when is your that? It's in His He. How it should have ended on YouTube. Check that out. That's a real good parody series. Especially mostly the superhero stuff. I mean, they do have other how it should have ended with other movies and stuff like that. Mostly, I watch the superhero ones like the MCU and the stuff with the DC movies and stuff like that. It's mostly my favorite ones to watch. But one thing I think it was in the Guardian of the Galaxy how it should have ended. It was like, well, why don't you get up off that chair and do something about it? Thanos like, it's not my time. But when is your time? That's what my wife said. Look at it like, well, when is your time? It's not my time. When? Like, when is your time? I told her, I said, well, I guess whatever the writers say is time. Because he's waiting for the writers. That's probably what Deadpool would probably say. Now, that's just lazy writing. So, when is your time? So, he's like, when it's time. But the time is right. So, and Penelope's like, or you could just try to do it yourself right now. Don't talk back to me, you foolish idiot. Stay out of my way or else you'll be destroyed too. Get the point? And that's sort of, one thing I sort of imagine Ramon like, imagine if Jafar from Aladdin was a rabbit. A rabbit version of Jafar. Remember that one thing he got mad at the genie? He said, don't talk back to me, you big blue lump. So So back in the forest, they decide. Everybody comes out where Hiko and Naomi are to have sort of a breakfast picnic. First, usually when people have a picnic, it's usually like lunch or dinner. Mostly lunch, because you usually have a lot of time picnics be up in the daytime. And technically, this is the daytime, so yeah, you could possibly have a breakfast picnic. I mean, it is daytime. So of course they say after they say grace over the food, they get ready. They all finally get ready to eat their breakfast and stuff. Naomi actually just at first Naomi's is kind of rocking back and forth because she wants to go back and keep playing with Hiko, and they're like, aren't you? It's like, aren't you hungry? And you actually hear Naomi's stomach growling. It's like, sounds like a sign of hunger to me. And she's like, I want to play some more. Hiko figures like, okay, well, hey, we can eat later at lunchtime. Yeah, let's go play. And however, now this is another thing. This right here is another thing with the whole optism thing. Sound of the Forest has actually mentioned on TikTok a lot of times she has forgotten to eat certain meals because sometimes she would get so wrapped up in her special interests. Her special interests usually be like painting and also dealing with her bugs because she likes to collect bugs and stuff like that, as well as different stuff out of nature like moss and stuff like that. So a lot of times she'll get wrapped up with something involving her bugs or her insects, which same thing, with her insects or with her paintings, that sometimes she'll forget, like, wait, I need to eat something. So that's kind of another thing with autism, which, and probably, and some of y'all might think, well, Gabe, sometime I gotten so busy I didn't eat anything until later. But the big difference, though, you probably see, if you're not autistic, you probably knew. Yeah, you knew you had to eat. But thing was, you probably was in probably, I would say, like on your job or something, and you like you working straight. Sometimes you work straight through your break or something like that because you're trying to get the job done. And I'll bet you when you got off work, you got something to eat because you knew you was hungry. It wasn't the fact you didn't know that though. But see, with an autistic person, I mean, it's not saying that they don't know they have to eat, but sometimes it completely is completely not even on their mind. And in like Sound of the Forest case, and see, every autistic person is different. So in her case, the part of her body that tells her, "Oh, hey, I'm hungry, go eat," doesn't the function in it doesn't work. Doesn't seem like that it comes off right away. So sometimes she might all of a sudden start feeling strange, like, wait, why am I feeling so strange? And turns out it's an effect from you didn't eat nothing. You're hungry. So sort of like like some people get cranky when they don't eat, and they're real hungry. Sort of like or their body starts hurting there. Like in my case, if I don't if I made that, and that might be hard to believe, but if I've gone a extensive amount, I'm not sure completely how long, but if I've gone a long time and hadn't eaten nothing for a long time, sometimes it affects me where I end up getting a headache. It's not just my stomach grumbling, but sometimes it'll get to the point where my head starts hurting there. So until I eat something, so yeah, it be like that. But so in Hiko's case, his stomach growled and cramps, causing him to fall to the ground. And he's like, "Oh no! Maybe I should eat something." So yeah, so they all sit down to eat, and as they're eating, this is where they start to talk about Yumeko. Yeah, they start to talk about how this world works and everything. Uh, so so of course, so it's a little different in the novel series, but here in the comic, Brownie states that Grandpa, according to what Grandpa told me, Yumiko is the manifestation of dreams and imagination of various people throughout time, mostly children. Now, no, he's not saying, he said mostly children. So that's not saying that, oh, I guess that means us adults don't have any imagination. He's not saying adults don't have imagination, but mostly, he's just saying most of the time the imagination comes from children. There are some that comes from adults, but most of the children, because just by nature, children are more prone to go into their imaginative side quicker than an adult would. An adult can, but children are more quicker to do it. Or I guess in my case, adults that are a child at heart and still have their plush toys and Transformers and stuff. or like Bobby Proud, the Proud family, when they made all the adults disappear and he was still there. It was like, how did he? Wait, how come he's still here? Because I'm a child at heart. Now bring my mama back so she can make me a snack. Wah. Yeah, it's like, and then when Sugar Mama came back, oh, I'm so glad to see you, Mama. And then all of a sudden, Sugar Mama disappeared again. Oh, Mama. Oh, no, not again, Mama, no. So Brownie's grandpa, they asked him, well, how long has this world been in existence? Brownie's grandpa states, nobody knows exactly. However, after God's creation of the human race, everyone developed their own ideals and dreams and imagination, resulting in the creation of gods and goddesses and myths and fairy tales. And so probably I would say at some point during, not during the biblical era, not during them, but probably I would say like, after, say, like George Washington and stuff like that happened, that Yumeko probably came into existence. But it started getting built up to where it eventually came into existence all the way back then. Because remember, they say make man in our own in our own image. Ever since when like the Egyptians, they have their idol gods and goddesses, like in one of the videos, actually DVDs now, that have an animated Moses for the kids. The Pharaoh, when they came to Pharaoh, he's like, "Oh Pharaoh, we ask you again to let our people go as our Lord command, and we offer another sign of his might." And the Pharaoh's like, "His might? Do you not see the true might of Egypt? You have but to look at there. Behold the temple of Aku Simba. And whose image is that? The Pharaoh's. And not just one statue, but two. Where stands any shrine as grand as this, that proclaim this?" So yeah, the gods of God, and a lot of rulers considered themselves like a lot of the rulers that weren't, that didn't follow, the one true God, considered themselves as lowercase g gods and stuff. So that's how you get, that's why, we got a lot of these myths and stuff like that, like Zeus and all that. That's how we got that with from the Romans and all that. Then of course you got your fairy tales, like Peter Pan and Peter Pan, Little Mermaid, Pinocchio, and all that. Then he explains more. Then once technology was introduced, the people had dreams and ideals of various futures involving the advancements of their technology and what was beyond time and space. And the more people grew, their dreams and imaginations uh, grew their dreams and imagination, the more real Yumeko became, along with other worlds and other universes, creating the multiverse. So now this is how the multiverse. So they've already mentioned about the multiverse. That now the one thing, and see one thing. Even Ducktales, the rebooted Ducktales. I think it was Huey. Huey meant was it Huey, Dewey, Louie? Huey mentioned that about a scientist from way from back in the night from a 90s from I think a 90s Disney special. He said he mentioned Stalago. He said he was a mad thinker. He believed that every work of fiction every work of fiction was a doorway to another universe. So think about that. Every time, like the MCU, you know how many universes Marvel got. Every time they create a Spider-Man story, that's another universe. DC, Batman, Superman stories and stuff like that. Every time we ourselves create fan fictions like what I'm doing with the Superman series, that's another universe. This right here is another universe. So, yep. So that's create the multiverse. Okay, so there are other versions of this world. It's like, yep. And some of those worlds, and in some of those worlds, magical creatures like us exist in that exist here in Yumeko exist alongside humans. So yeah, there are some worlds where you got creatures like anthropomorphic people like Brownie talking, like we just walk up, hey, what's up? Hey, how you doing? do 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 do. And even creatures like fairies and unicorns and mermaids, they're sort of hinting at Bubblina, because Bubblina is her. That's a whole nother universe separate from this one. Sort of a little foreshadowing there. Even space aliens from other planets, and probably more. So, give me that. Let's see, kind of and there's even a mention about let's see, they asked about how Melina and Naomi got there, as well as they themselves. It's like, well, I'm sorry to change this up, but I just want to know, you said there were other children like Melina and Naomi. If there's any other children besides us? And Violet, okay, Brownie's mom. She's like, well, I'm not so sure, but seeing that I found Melina and Naomi before Brownie arrived with you and your friends, I assume it's possible. The way Brownie explains about that whole incident with the black hole vortex, and that's how him and his crew got separated, and probably caused the other children to be here. They wonder if it's happened before. Brownie's grandpa mentions about two boys that had arrived years ago. Both were raised by the king and queen of the home region, which is known as Douglas. So Barnhart City is part of what's called the Douglas region. That name Douglas actually comes from my mom's side of the family. That's their last name is Douglas. So the palace located very far north in Jordan City. So Jordan City is sort of like, I think, the capital there. When these kids became adults, there were two kids. When they became adults, the king and queen offered the oldest one to take the throne as the next king of the Douglas region. He accepted, of course, and his brother would be his assistant. But eventually, he came to the real world to find the queen. However, both him and his brother were never heard. After a few more years had passed, and him and his brother were never heard from, and they haven't heard, and nobody knows what happened to them. So there's a mystery of where these two boys are. So Hiko's like, well, okay, well, I think we should go. We should try to find them along with Brownie's friends. And this could be like an ultimate adventure. Save the missing citizens and the king and queen of a new world. So, of course, everybody's in. Malena's like, yeah, I'll join in. Tim's like, you're not going without me. Of course, Naomi's like, I love adventure. Let's go. Zayden, of course, wants to join in to impress the girls, of course. Yeah. And with that, we have our mission for this version of Yumeko. We have our mission. So the mission. So they've explained how Yumeko came into being, and the mission that the goal in mind at the moment to find this missing king and queen, and as well as this king's brother. So, and also Brownie's friends. So, yeah, that's the rough draft of issue 3 and 4. So, hope y'all enjoyed that. There, kind of went up. This probably I know my others were kind of short since I only did one rough draft, but like I say, I wanted to put a little more for this one to get through those two. So, like I say, now whether I do, like I say, if I do just one issue for the other videos, it just depends. But you'll find out when I get there. But as for now, yeah, that's what I've done for here. So, yeah, I like what y'all saw and everything and heard. Definitely like, share, subscribe. Hit it. Get some of our available books that are published. Hit us up on that Patreon, just like your boy EJ the Supreme, Big Sis Casey in the Iceman universe, and also definitely hang out with us on Facebook and Discord, and hit us up on that McCary app there, so we can sell each other some stuff. And we will see y'all in the next video. And as of now, we gotta go get ready for church. So, take care, everybody, and praise the Lord.